Hey, thank you guys for coming out this morning. How many of you guys have been here before? Raise your hand and say, oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. Anybody, raise your hand if this is your first time here. Let's give a round of applause to the people that's first time. So this is actually, let's see, this is the 9th month of the year, which means this is the 80th session or 79th session. I got to go recount. This is the 79th or 80th session we've ever done of Masterclass. So could you all give yourselves a round of applause for that? Because I think that's pretty cool. You can only do the same thing or kind of the same thing 80 times and have people still come in if it's really cool. So what we realized about 80 months ago, or, we take December off, so it was probably almost 8 years ago. It was during the World Cup 2018. And we realized that there wasn't a place where agents were coming together and sharing without any ulterior motive. In fact, there were a few brokerages you could go, but it would be like all their top producers on a panel and nobody else, or it would be all the people from this brokerage and nobody else, or it'd be like someone trying to sell you some coaching program or someone trying to sell you a mortgage, or there was always some ulterior motive. And I just thought being objective and looking at the actual data that ranks the top 500 each and every month and each and every year, that it would just make sense for us to bring these people. Like we throw these parties. How many of you guys have ever been to a real producer's party before? How many of you guys were at the Orpies? Make some noise. Anybody still got your wristband on? So we threw these parties for the top 500, and people would be like, oh my God, that's really cool. How do I get an invite? How did he get invited? And we'd be like, go sell more next year. High five. And that would just feel really disingenuous. So what we learned was that if we put the people that are in the top 500 on a stage and just asked them questions and had them teach without any ulterior motive, that we could bring together people from all different brokerages, backgrounds, business models, and sides of town, and just have them sharing and collaborating, which is what I believe the industry really should look like. Would you guys agree? And so, a couple of you agree at least. So this is the 80th session. We've got a handful of badass agents from all different business models, brokerages, sides of town, and they're here to talk to you a little bit about what they're doing that works. And what's cool about this is each and every month, like these aren't coaches, these aren't speakers, these are agents that are actually doing it. And we don't have any ulterior motive to pump an agent who's not actually doing it. We're only looking at data. So the cool thing for you guys is anytime you come out to this, every third Thursday, we got 2 more sessions this year, by the way, that you're going to want to make it to. You're just going to hear objectively from the best of the best, candid, raw, with no ulterior motive. And that's the best way for you to stay plugged in to really what's working, what's the people's stories behind what's worked for them, and also get to know the other players in the market that are coming and going to this. Does that make sense? So anyway, welcome. Thanks for coming. We've got about 90 advertising partners that make real producers happen here in Orlando. So if you meet anyone in this room that doesn't sell real estate, they're not here by accident. They are one of the best, and they're referred by a top 500 agent. So let's say you connect with a guy like John Canonico. He's one of the foremost insurance experts in the state. He does stuff for like guys like Jarvis Landry and NFL players, and only deals with high net worth stuff, like multi-6-figure and 7-figure. You guys get what I'm saying, like high net worth stuff. And you've got people like Monica, who's a sponsor today. And you guys get what I'm saying. Any of these people you meet, they're not here by accident. A few of them stepped up to make today extra special and to make it happen here. So I'm going to give each of them just a minute, tell you who they are, what they do. Only half of them are probably here, so we got a little bit more time. But y'all, come on up. If you're a sponsor, come on up. Let's get this thing going. Y'all give them a round of applause. Mike, you're going to get to kick us off, man. Mike with CFBI. Let's do this.
Hey, I'm Mike with Central Florida Building Inspectors. And yes, I'm wearing a golf shirt and a tie. So you can throw a tie on and say you do luxury. You can throw a tie on and say you support luxury. You can do whatever you want. You can pose in front of the fancy cars, but the real people are out there doing it every day. And that's something that we do. We have 22 inspectors, and we're able to pull them together that when you have a 8,000, 10,000, 12,000 square foot property, you're not there all day. And you're not getting a lack of attention to detail because they're rushing through to try to get done. We're able to segment the inspection and have multiple inspectors covering different areas and providing your luxury clients that are buying these $1 million properties the attention and coverage they need and they want, because they're a different animal to work with, just like an investor is or someone else. So we cover all your luxury needs anywhere in Central Florida.
Love it. Mike with CFBI. Y'all give him a round of applause.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm going to make this quick and easy. So my name is Monica. I'm with Assured Partners Insurance Brokerage based out of Lake Mary, but we do all things insurance, not just in Florida, but nationwide. I have a team of about 20 agents. We know the market from coast to coast here in Florida, so the goal is to get you guys to the closing table. One quick insurance nugget, insurance rates are going down. I said this, I think, last month, and I'm going to say it again this month. So we're seeing decreases from some of our carriers, upwards of 10%. So what does that mean? More money back in your pocket, more money back in your client's pocket. Also, insurance companies are opening more availability. So roof, if you're having issues with roof or with plumbing, things of that nature within a property, please reach out to me and my team. We'll be happy to help. And then auto insurance is going down too. So please, if I can shop your rates and save you money, it would make my day. So thank you very much.
Love it.
Well, you've just made my day, so thank you. My name's Lori. I'm with Red Door Title Group, and I manage their marketing team. Who here has closed or has heard of Red Door Title Group? Awesome. All right. That means our team is doing a great job. So a little bit about us. We are a full-service title and escrow company. But one of the things that really does set us apart is the services that we offer. And by that, I mean heavily customer service. So next question. Who in here works 9 to 5? Anybody? All right, that was not a trick question. So we believe at Red Door Title Group, your partners should not work 9 to 5. So when I say that, I mean that we're available, and I say we're, I'm talking about myself, so I'm not like 3 people. But anyway, we are available. Our team is on standby to assist you after hours, weekends, holidays. When you guys are busiest, we're here to support you. So whether it's title, insurance, building, we believe that you should have the partners that are working the same hours that you do. We also do not charge for mobile notaries. We have an exclusive team that we work with that will come to you and your clients anywhere. We're not going to charge you an extra penny. It's just a cost to us for doing service with you. And we also are full service short sale friendly, because I think everyone will agree we are facing that type of market. So we have an exclusive team that handles our short sale and investment contracts that come through. So that's about it. I'm Lori. I'm with Red Door Title Group, and I hope to be working with each and every one of you very soon.
All right. Let's give it up for Lori.
Good morning. I'm Stacy Luna with Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group. We are also a full-service mortgage lender. We are a direct lender. We are not a broker. We are not a bank. We are the perfect middle person. That means we offer all these options. However, we control everything in-house, which is really important when you'd like to close on time, especially for your high net worth clients. The most important thing I just want to tell you is there may be some of you sitting in this room right now. You're not sure you're supposed to be here. It might be your first time. You might be like, this is really what I want to break into. Just having the mindset that this is where you're going is probably the most important thing of this entire day, because you're not going to get there by sitting behind your computer at home. Like the people that are not here, they're not going to get this knowledge. And what Aaron brings to this table, to this stage, is absolutely amazing. The knowledge that you're going to get, you're going to really enjoy it. And if you just take away one thing, that's going to move you forward. Stacy Lynn with Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group. Thanks.
Love it. All right. Let's give it up for all these sponsors. Also, I'm just going to name out the other sponsors because there's a bunch of them in there. They'll see the recording and see I didn't mention them, so I'm going to make sure we do. We got Blue Haven Pools, Artesian Title. We got Sorensen Moving and Storage, Florida Home Photo. He just had a baby, so he's got a good excuse. Heather Hurry with Pillow to Post. Jeff Mackey team is not here this morning. She got sick. We had Assured Partners. We had Red Door Title. Fusion Home Loans is set up in the back, but Chris had to run. And DeVore Design brought the coffee. Let's give it up for all them. All right, you guys came here to learn something today, right? Let's get this thing started. Let's. I think we're going to start this off real quick with Brandon Geers. We're going to talk to him for a few minutes and talk about how he broke into luxury, and then I'm going to bring all the veteran big dogs up. Is that cool with you guys? All right, so Brandon Geers has quickly broken into the Winter Park luxury market, established himself as a trusted name in real estate. The past 12 months alone, he's closed over $25 million in sales volume, and with an average transaction exceeding $1 million. So he got our M Club last year. He's earned himself the moniker Mr. Winter Park, which is pretty crazy in a place where the most established agents have been dominant there for multiple decades, 20, 30 plus years. And he delivers innovative marketing and branding, a deep local approach. He's sold a few different UCF head coaches homes. And let's just give it up for Brandon Geers. I'm cutting in and out, guys. I don't know what. Oh, probably. That's probably my fault. All right, I'll move that. Let's give it up for Brandon Geers. Come on up, Brandon. We'll see if that works. Here, man. Why don't we have you jump on this one right over here?
How we doing?
So, Brandon, tell everyone how long you've been in real estate. When did you actually jump in?
I jumped in 2021. I'm a COVID baby.
So you're only 4 to 5 years in, essentially, depending on how
On
what
over
months.
5. Yep.
All right. And what did you sell last year?
17, I think, 18.
17 million.
Yeah.
And I'm still cutting in and out, guys. Let's talk about your approach to Winter Park, because we had a really good conversation about it. You decided to get into luxury, and there's a lot of people that talk about selling luxury homes, or they watch TV shows about selling luxury homes, and they dream about selling luxury homes. I remember driving around Winter Park, in high school, wishing I was living or selling these luxury homes. You actually are doing it. So talk about how you made the decision, and talk about what the first steps were that helped you actually make it happen.
When I first got started, I was on a team, Zillow leads, running all over town, chasing whatever I could get. And when I finally started focusing on something, I live in Winter Park, I eat in Winter Park, and just saw this 32789 zip code and saw the potential there. So I just dove in, and there's a ton of veteran agents dominating this market, but I figured if I'm going to farm a certain area, might as well, go for where I live and where I think the most potential is.
Nice. All right, talk about why you picked Winter Park aside from living there. I mean, you said to me something about how if you're going to sell homes, they might as well be large. Talk a little bit about that mindset.
Yeah, so going back to when I started, I was definitely a lower price point, doing a ton of work, running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And, I finally got $1 million house, and it was the same paperwork. It's the same process. And, if you could just devote that energy to the higher price point, I just thought my life would be a little more balanced.
Love it. Has it been?
It has. Somewhat.
Somewhat. That's always the funny question, right? Talk a little about the intentionality behind it. Like, you decided that you wanted to break into Winter Park. Obviously, you saw that there were some heavy hitters that were doing it, but what type of research did you do? What type of marketing decisions did you make? And was there ever times where, you saw them doing this, so you either copied it, or you saw them doing this, so you did the opposite?
When I started looking into who was dominating the market, it was people that have been doing it for, like you said, a long time. And I just went back to what I did when I started. I was door knocking these $3, $4, $5 million homes. I was dropping off business cards to anyone that would talk to me. I still do. Whenever I go out to eat, I try to give one business card to somebody at the bar. It's you don't know who's who. Always assume everyone's, living in that $6 million house.
Talk about the process of both how you kind of farm Winter Park, make it friends with everybody. Let's talk a little about your UCF connection and how you started it, what it looks like. Give them a kind of an idea of what that relationship is.
Before I got into real estate, I saw these coaches are buying and selling houses on 2-year contracts. They can't lease because it doesn't show their commitment to the program. So I saw the turnover, and just basically, long story short, I went to an auction one time right when I got into real estate, and there was a dinner with the head coach for sale, and I was like, this is
UCF
priceless.
head coach, just
UCF
so
head coach,
everyone's
yeah. At 60 Vines, and I was like, no matter what it was weirdly cheap. I think it was like $2,000, and I was like, if I can get in front of this guy, he'll like me, and just stayed in touch with him. And next thing you know, like a year later, he called me. He's like, hey, we're downsizing, and it just spiraled out of control from there.
Give them a kind of an idea of what's come from that. So you sold the head coach's house, and then what?
Sold the head
things have
coach's
come from it?
house, and he downsized, moved 2 streets over, and then he got transferred to UCF last year, or not transferred. He took a job at FSU last year, and then new coach came in, got my name. I kind of stalked him to get my name in front of him. But he called me, and then a couple of the other coaches. Just the turnover in college athletics blows my mind.
And we're not just talking about head coaches. We're talking about assistant coaches, position coaches.
Yeah, and then just referrals of, boosters and.
How much do you think you sold through UCF athletics staff members?
20.
20 million?
Yeah.
See, some of you guys are farming neighborhoods and don't even think about farming organizations. Is that pretty cool? What else do they need to know about breaking into the luxury market? What are some either misnomers that you learned about, or what are some, I
always go back to
tips.
Treat normal people like rock stars and rock stars like normal people. Like when I go out to dinner and I meet someone, Just because they're not showing up in a Bentley, you don't know, what they have or who they are. So I treat everyone like they're $1 million seller, and just try to, even the smaller listings that I get, you don't know if they have another house that, they're trying to buy, if they're going to buy. And everyone's income grows over the years. So in 10 years, if I sell someone a house for $500,000, in 10 years, who knows where they'll be.
Share what you're doing differently in your marketing to stay in alignment with who you're farming and marketing to, because you told me things like picking heavier card stock or things like talk a little bit about those decisions.
Yeah, I think just going the extra mile in your marketing goes a long way. My videos, my pictures, trying to grow my Instagram, in like my mailers, I always do a heavier card stock. I send high-end boxes, just everything, because, we all get 1,000 postcards and they go right in the trash. So, spending an extra couple bucks to make something stand out and someone will actually remember your name, first, second, third time, I think is worth the money.
What other things are you doing in the Winter Park community to get your name out there, to farm, to meet more people, to do client appreciation? Talk about the events, the sponsorships, the community groups you're part of.
There's a Park Avenue board that I'm a part of. Just trying to get involved with the community in any way possible. I've just moved to Winter Park 5 years ago, so I'm still, pretty new, but just any way possible. Trying to be out there, breakfasts, lunches, dinners, meet as many people as possible.
I just think it's crazy that not only they call you Mr. Winter Park, but
and I hate that. I
you
did
really
not
earned it. Just to be clear, that it's cool because as someone that went to Maitland Middle, Winter Park High School, Rollins, grew up here, I find it crazy that people 5 years in, everyone's like, man, that's Mr. Winter Park. Meanwhile, there's people that have been there for 40 or 50 years. People like Mick have sold every house 4 times over. It's crazy.
And someone called me Mr. Winter Park, and I was like, that is the most arrogant thing. I will never call myself that. If someone I heard was that, I'd hate them. But yeah, someone coined it for me. She's in the audience, and it stuck, and it shows that I'm ingraining myself with any way possible Winter Park.
We ran with it in our marketing. So
everyone
if it
has,
offends
and it's a
anyone,
good thing, but I think
it's,
if you didn't know me, and you're like, you called yourself Mr. Winter Park, what a dick. But I'm not.
Well, tell me about your client appreciation and follow-up and what you do with, once you have someone in, talk about how you keep in touch with your sphere.
I think face-to-face interaction is a huge part of maintaining that, high-level relationship. I do the cards, I do the closing gifts, but I try to make it a point to have dinner, drinks, coffee with all my clients at least once a quarter, or at least try to. I've learned that, everyone's busy, so if I get it on the calendar for November, odds are they're going to move it. Just to have something on the calendar that shows that I'm trying to stay in front of them is half the battle.
What's that conversation look like for those that don't know what to say?
Just catching up on life. I don't talk real estate at all.
When you call them, what do you say? Hey, I just want to catch up on life?
Yeah, how are things? I kind of stalk their Facebook or Instagram and see some event that I can drop. But yeah, I try to keep it completely personal. And even when I meet someone the first time, I don't automatically say, hey, I'm a realtor. Where do you live? It's
you in Winter Park? Yeah. 32819?
Third, fourth, fifth conversation, and try to make it happen organically.
What happens when you get leads outside of Winter Park? Do you serve everywhere?
Oh, yeah. I take them and run. I'm not there
I know
yet.
It's a silly question, but some people are going to ask it.
No, I wish. One day if I'm ever that level, that'd be awesome. But no, I will. I just sold a house in Boca. So
do you do outgoing marketing outside of Winter Park, though?
No. I strictly am focused. All my money is going straight to 32789.
Love it. You talk about closing gifts. What are you giving?
It depends. It really depends on the price point, I think. I do a lot of dinners. I try to take, clients to christeners is a big one for me. Take the family, take the kids. Experiences. I have a client that started a Disney tour company that took off, and Chris Hardiman actually with Fusion used him one time, and his clients raved about it. So I usually gift a VIP tour for the family. And that's awesome. Usually goes. Experiences, everybody can get a TV or a Roomba, but an experience is something that they'll remember.
That's awesome. Who here has a question for Brant? Anybody? Yep, right here.
So, sorry, I'm just a loud person by nature. So, when you're first starting out with all of this, how are you navigating what your end game is? Oh, thank you. How are you navigating what your end game is? So you want to farm the Winter Park area or insert location here, and you're trying to get this stuff done. I don't have any income. I'm supposed to be the income person. It's not going well right now. But when you're that person, I don't have the money to put down on good cardstock and good boxes and welcome gifts and, hey, be aware of my presence type of situation. So like, how are you starting all of this out being at net zero?
So can I rephrase her question?
I get it.
I would say, what are you doing? What would you be doing if you didn't have the money to get started? Where would the hustle and the free stuff come?
I mean, I think just being out there. It doesn't cost any money to go to Park Avenue and just walk up and down and meet people and shake hands, and just meeting people, I think, grows the business exponentially.
Showing up at events too.
Showing
Like
events,
community
just
events. There's
being
a
out
ton
there.
of stuff on Park Avenue. There's
Yeah.
a ton of stuff in Winter Park
Yeah.
or
And
whatever
I always wear
area.
a shirt with my name on it. I do whatever it takes.
Also, you can pick a different area, because walking up and down Winter Park could be expensive. Maybe you pick a place that could be a little less expensive. Just a
true.
thought. All right, let's give him a round of applause. I'm gonna kick you down to the left. I'm gonna keep you in this, but I'm gonna bring up the others if that's cool. Y'all want to learn some more stuff today? All right. Well, make sure I don't screw this bio up. Jenny Dunn is an award-winning TV sports anchor turned top luxury agent. She sold nearly $60 million in 2024, over $30 million in off-market sales, multiple $10 million deals. She ranks among Orlando's top 25 agents for 2025, over $45 million in volume so far for the year, and her average sale this year is $2.5 million. Let's give a giant round of applause to Jenny Dunn with Stockworth. And just to save time, I'm going to bring all three of them up just so we don't go one-on-one. I just figured I'd give you a little bit of someone that's breaking in versus the people that have been there for a while. Gibbs drove the furthest. He's a top producer, founder at the Baum team at One Sotheby's International, over 20 years experience. He's known for strategic insight. He's one of the top agents in Space Coast. Him and his partner Greg ranked number 10 and 11, which really, if we combine them, would make them like second or third. And the biggest duo in Space Coast by a ton. They sell about $75 million each and every year, so they would probably also be in the top 5 in Orlando. And I told them to come on out here, give us a different perspective on the luxury market. So someone you probably haven't heard from before. Let's give a giant round of applause and a warm Orlando welcome to Gibbs. And last but certainly not least, he's been on our panel a few times before. Man, you're looking good, Mike. You getting Mike Stewart, him and his wife Teresa, they rank in the top 25 literally every single year. They're their own boutique brokerage. The brokerage is now growing, which is really cool to see. Their son's now in the business too. But Mike and Teresa not only rank in the top 25, every single year he hits our M Club, which means he has a 7-figure average transaction. And he was number 14 at Aura apparently currently this year. Is that right? That's awesome. He's been a finalist for Boutique and Indie Brokerage of the Year twice at the Orbeez. He's also a partner in an 1,800-acre golf course. Got a background running franchises. Papa John's, was it? That's right. And him and his wife, Teresa, they have 2 boys. Jay, who's also a realtor, is 15 years old. They reside in Windermere. And this dude just completely farms the crap out of Windermere. Does an amazing job. I read his bio all backwards. But you guys, let's give it up for Michael Stewart. Southern Realty Group, just to make sure I don't screw that one up too.
I gotta sit next to you, huh?
Yeah, let's do it, man. You know what? Since you're right here, I'm gonna start with you.
Perfect.
Let's talk about. Obviously, your background was corporate, and you switched over to real estate at some point. Talk about how you got into residential real estate, and talk about did you start in the luxury market, and if not, how did you get into the luxury market?
So real quick, I started Papa John's Pizza at store 25. I actually met John Schnatter, the founder, and left at store 3800. And so I got out of corporate America in 2003 and thought I was going to semi-retire and got really bored really fast. And my wife goes, "You should sell real estate." And I said, "Why?" She goes, "You're really good with people." And I was like, "Well, I didn't realize real estate was a people business." So kind of like Brandon, I just printed up some business cards. We moved into a golf community in Windermere, Florida, and I would just be driving around in my golf cart, and people would be, out there on the range or whatever, and I'd stop and introduce myself and hand them a business card. And it wasn't, "Hey, I want to sell your home." It was just, "Hey, I'm getting into real estate, and if you ever have a question, just let me know." And my first year as a realtor, I did just over $675,000 in commissions. I worked for a gentleman who actually was based up here in Winter Park. His name was John Radeski. He owned a company called Right Choice Realty. I paid $299 a month and got 100% of my commission. And John was a huge resource for us for almost 2 years, and he just kept going, Mike, stop doing this. He goes, you need to go work for yourself. And I said, well, I don't want the liability of being a broker. So I said, well, why don't you broker our company? Because brokers could broker more companies than one. So he did for a couple of years, and then my wife Teresa decided that let's go ahead and take the liability, and we became our own brokerage. So that's kind of how we got started.
How did you get started in the luxury market specifically?
Well, when we moved into was at the time was a luxury market. So when we moved into our community, the highest priced house was probably around $1 million, and the lowest was right around $350 to $400. Those $400,000 homes are now $1 million plus, and we just last year we sold a house in our community for $10.6 million.
So what I'm hearing from you is if you just farm a solid community and grow over time, that price point may grow enough that you're just crushing it.
Absolutely.
In the next cycle when those homes are worth a lot more.
You never know. I'll revert back to 2008 when things really, really got bad, and those homes that people were buying in 2004, 2005, 2006 for $600,000 or $700,000 quickly went down to $300,000. And when the market goes bad, that's when the opportunity, you can't look at a good and bad market, right? You can't look at higher price, lower price, or where pricing is. You have to think long term. So in my mind, when I'm sitting there in 2008 and everybody's short selling and foreclosing, I'm going, now's the opportunity to buy. And so I went and found one investor. My goal was to find 4. I found one, and he and I bought 15 homes in our community at an average purchase price of $325,000. It was a very disciplined model. We basically stayed at 3-car garages, all had pools. He had the vision, I didn't. I wanted to sell them, flip them. He said, no, we're holding. We rented them. We earned about 4% on our money for 13 years. And we sold all of them in 2021, 2022 for over $1.2 million each.
That's awesome.
So
Love it.
The idea is when you see a good and down market, there's opportunities in both. Because I know where we are today, and I see a lot of the Instagram, I see a lot of the Facebook, and there's always an opportunity.
I love that, Mike. Let's go to Gibbs, man. How did you break into the luxury world, and what did that look like?
I guess what I would want to say first is that a lot of people don't realize is luxury really is knowledge. It's about knowing the whole business. It's about knowing as you walk around the house if you see wood rot. It's about knowing if you see a stair-step crack in the concrete. It's about advising your client not only how to list initially, but how to go through the whole process. So we do like to say that and I really, like you, I'm like people over at the beach, they know that I work 32951. And there's a couple of things that people call me.
Mr. Melbourne Beach would be a cool
as
nickname,
well,
dude. I think we can start
as well. So, and I hate it too. I hate it too because I do like to be humble and I do like to just kind of live a normal life. But I've been very fortunate to not only be very knowledgeable over the years with real estate, but always keeping my clients' financial interests in mind. And I am a very honest and open and transparent person through transactions, but I do work for a seller. So as a buyer's agent coming to me, you got to know that I'm a great guy and I'm got everybody's interest to get to the end of the transaction. But if there's an opportunity for my client to make more money, then that's going to unfold. It's going to be completely honest. It's going to be completely transparent. But we do need to remember that we work for somebody. And once you get a reputation in a town of making people more money or identifying ways for people to make money or knowing the short-term rental market, knowing the, over $1 million market, understanding that a $350,000 house deserves most of what a $1 million house deserves. Because to break into the luxury market, people have to trust you. And they don't trust somebody unless they think they're more knowledgeable than they are. So every morning, wake up, whatever neighborhood you're working, whatever zip code you're working, look at what the waterfronts are selling dollar per square foot. Look at what the non-waterfronts are selling dollar per square foot. Look at what the pool homes are selling per square foot, and have all that knowledge. So when you go to the grocery store and you're looking at Cheerios and somebody else is looking at the family box of Cheerios, you can start a conversation, and that conversation almost always can quickly lead to real estate because people always ask. And I do think that many of us wanting to break into the luxury market kind of forget that we need to crawl before we walk, we need to walk before we run. And that's all a part of the process because you're gaining the knowledge working with some of the other people to get to the point where your lips are loaded when you're talking to the right person. It's about being prepared for when that opportunity is in front of you, that you don't screw it up.
Love that. Love that. Jenny, how did you get going in the luxury market?
So I would say the two things that they said I really would play off of is that it's the same paperwork no matter what price point you're at. And the knowledge that you bring, luxury isn't just about price point. It's about the experience and the service that you provide. So if you're providing a luxury service for your $200,000 client, your $400,000 client, you're not going to automatically become a different agent for your luxury client. You have to, for every client you have, provide that luxury experience. Now, the things that you might be doing for them service-wise may differ. For a $400,000 client, she had two very cute teacup Yorkies that would not stop barking when we were showing the home. So I took those two little teacup Yorkies to my house whenever we had a showing. Whereas a client of mine at a $10 million home needed his Aston Martin taken out of the garage to go meet the car hauler. But the service that you provide at every level of client that you have of their price point, if it's a luxury service, then you're going to be prepared when you have that one thing happen that automatically puts you into that over $1 million price point. That happened for me. My kids were in a private preschool, and so I got to know some of those families, but then they go to public school. So I'm not in the public high school setting with all of those moms that give a lot of agents a lot of inroads there. That is a great place. If your kids are in private school, you should, work with those parents, get to know those parents. But at the end of the day, you have to be authentic. Because if you are trying to meet these people that are at these high price points and they can tell that you're trying to get their business and that's all that you're trying to do is get their business, they're not going to want to work with you. Everybody wants to be with someone who is authentic, and they want to be with someone who truly cares about their money. Because no matter what price point someone is at, we make a lot of money to them. If it's a $300,000 house and you're making $9,000 of their profit, that's a lot of money to that $300,000 client. And then it just escalates from there. So I would say put yourself into spheres where you're going to meet those people, accept every invitation that you get. How I ended up with all of the $10 million deals was I accepted an invitation to play golf. And I had not played golf in probably 15 years. And when I was a television sports anchor, I would play every now and then in a celebrity pro-am. And I was never good. I was a swimmer in college. I was never good at any land sport. So I was not great, but I was fun on the golf course, so I'd get to play in these celebrity pro-ams. Had not played in forever. And a client who's a dear friend of mine asked me to come and play at this women's just get together 9 rounds of golf. And I was like, I'm so bad. You do not want me on the golf course. And she was like, no, it'll be fun. Just come. Nobody cares. So I went. And it was me and 24 women, and all of them were at the private schools. And I just was myself. I was just my authentic self. And from that lunch, the person who invited me to that golf outing called me a few days later. And she said, do you remember meeting so-and-so from the lunch? And I said, yeah, we were kind of sitting diagonally a couple seats down from each other. Didn't really get to speak with her. Well, she heard your conversations of what you were saying, and she really liked you. But she sent me a text, and I don't know what this means. Would Jenny be good for celebration? And I said, well, it sounds like she's looking to either buy or sell in Celebration. And she started laughing. I said, what? She goes, I thought she was asking if you'd be good at a party. I said, what'd you say? She goes, yeah. I said, yeah, it should be fun. I said, well, tell her that I'd be good for her house in Celebration also. So I helped that family buy a home in Celebration, and they owned a home in Golden Oak. And they had such a good experience with their $700,000 purchase in Celebration that they then let me list their almost $6 million home in Golden Oak. And it was from accepting an invitation. So I always say, accept every invitation, because you never know who's gonna be there that's gonna either know someone or is gonna overhear what you have to say, and they like what you have to say and like your personality. So I would say that luxury is not just about price point, it's about the experience and service you provide, and you have to be authentic and accept every invitation. And to your question, I would say put yourself out there on social media. I am not the hundreds of thousands follower social media person, but what I do is I put myself out there to stay relevant so that people know what I do. Because maybe 5 years ago, I had someone saw me, after school pickup. I would always be at school pickup. I wasn't at school pickup for a while, just busy time. And someone came up to me and he stopped in his tracks and his jaw dropped. And I was like, what? He goes, I forgot you were a realtor. And this was 5 years ago. And I was like, I was mortified. You forgot I was an agent? So what I learned from that is, even though I'm not the one that gains hundreds of thousands of followers, I put stuff up on my story every single day just so people see it and they remember what I do. If I'm not in their face about it, they know, oh, I've got someone who's going to sell something. Jenny's an agent. She's got all this, volume happening now. But I would say put yourself out there on social media because it's free. Let your friends know what you do. Ask for their business.
Love it. Love it.
And show up to Real Producers events so you can get on the clips and then share that on your social media, because that's really high-end stuff.
There you go. I like that. I like that. You got the content days. You got the. I pay him to say that. No, I'm just kidding. Let's talk about. We talked a lot about how there's not many differences between luxury and normal properties, but I would like to know what are the major differences between selling luxury versus average properties. I'll start with you, Brandon. We'll go from you and come on down. What do you think are the differences?
I think in this price point, you're dealing with a much more educated seller, buyer. These people know what they're talking about, and there usually is more than one person involved in the transaction. There's usually attorneys, business managers, wealth advisors. There's usually a team behind these people that, have their input, and you got to be able to know what you're talking about. These aren't uneducated people that have these homes. So just knowing what you're talking about and being educated going into every meeting, every phone call goes a long way.
So a different level of financial literacy, is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Jenny, what would you say?
Yeah, I would agree with that. You'll have clients that are purchasing a home that's in the name of a trust, that's in the name of an LLC, and then their attorney signs the paperwork. So there are a lot of layers involved in these transactions. And then with the homes, obviously, they're much larger homes, and you need to pay attention to detail just as you would for that 2,500 square foot home. You need to know every detail of that home. You need to know all the details of these larger homes. So it's a much more complicated, detailed transaction. But again, if you practice what you're doing at the smaller price point and the smaller homes, it's going to parlay into the larger ones when you get there.
I have a question to ask as we keep going down that could be the same, or you guys could chime in on this one. I'd like to know what's different when it comes to who you use for things like, obviously a lot less of them probably have a mortgage, but let's say insurance, title, inspection, photography. What do you do are any of these things different when you're dealing with a larger home versus your average home?
CFBI through and through. Mike?
Are you switching? Are you using the same people that you use on a normal size home on a large home though?
Yeah.
For all the things?
Central Florida building inspectors is my go-to through and through. But yeah, Fusion Home Loans, my vendors are the same because, every price point deserves the same service.
I will say that every now and then, I've been doing this for 20 years, but we've cycled through some different vendors, and when we do have a problem with a vendor on something, like let's just say photos came out great and video did not, real quick we go back and we're willing to step up and say, hey, look, can we reshoot this? Can we re-edit this? And then we also give, some sellers want to preview videos. Some of them want to preview photos. And so there is a little bit more going through with that luxury market. But I think the biggest difference you hit on, and Brandon hit on, is being able to speak financial, right? So what's a 1031B tax exchange? And you should learn that it is a 1031B. It is not a 1031. I mean, 1031 is the short version of it. But when you use 1031B, somebody who knows finances will know that is the tax code, right? So if they're doing a 1031 exchange, you're going to need an intermediary. You need to know that. They have a certain time to identify. They have a certain time to close. Or they're going to pay tax. What is it if they pay tax? Well, they bought it for $1 million. They're selling it for $1.5 million. Their gain is only $500,000. They're only paying tax on $500,000. But you need to understand these things so that when people have these high-level conversations with you, you don't look like a deer in the headlights. So that's part of,
Where you learn about it.
You learn about it because you want to succeed, and this is part of the game. So you have to be a well-rounded individual to communicate with people who are well-rounded individuals. In other words, you go to the local plays. You know where the local playhouses are. You know what just played. Mystic Pizza played this summer. We went to it with the family. I know what's playing at the local theater in Henninger Center right now, coming up for the holidays. We plan trips with the kids. We do things. We still live a life, but we take those cultural and financial things that we're doing to improve our own life, and that becomes part of our business as well. It becomes part of your social post, shows that you have some etiquette, you speak properly, right? You try not to cuss in front of people, and even if other people cuss in front of you, guess what? Some of the biggest cussers in the world don't want to hear you cuss, right? You try to dress nicely, right? Even if it's not the perfect set of clothing, it shouldn't be tattered and ripped and stained and those kinds of things. I can show up at a listing appointment in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. But if that's the way I showed up, it's all basically new clothing. The shoes look good; they're not worn out. Those kinds of things. And I'm beachside. I'm fortunate now, but when I was building, because I've done this in multiple locations. So I was corporate America as well. 2003, I was right there with you. 2003, came out of corporate America. My sister was making a ton of money in real estate. And I wanted to be a provider for my family. And I was making $85,000 a year in corporate real estate in 2003. But my sister was killing it. And then she was like, look, just go get your license. So I did. I did it in North Carolina. So I built a successful company there, killed it, sold it in 2008, moved to Florida. I did that for my kids because the schools were better than central, rural North Carolina on the lake that I lived on. But bottom line is, as all that happened, I've built this business twice. The little things that we always forget, like, remember, every day you got to spend 20 minutes marketing. Every day you got to spend a certain amount of time. You get that first listing, and you think, oh, I can do $300 photos. No. Figure out how to spend the most money you can on those photos, and then leverage that content. And if you're not working with a team and you're not finding success, get on a team, because on my team, everybody gets all my listing content. You get the video downloads, you get the reels, you get everything. You can pay the $100 upcharge to do an agent intro on my listings. But you have to be on my team. I don't do that for everybody, right? But the amount that you can learn on a team, and if your team leader is a solid person, they're going to want to see you grow, and they're going to be okay when you leave that team as well.
Love it.
But It's all a process. And I would say every day that you wake up, for many, many years, I humped it. Every morning, I was up at 8 a.m., I was looking at comps, I was looking at the hot sheets, I got on my thing, what's to do today, I've got an inspection today, great, go to the inspection. Go to your inspection. Go to your inspection, y'all. Take business cards with you. Go around the 5 houses around it and say, hey, we're shooting photos today or we're doing an inspection today. If somebody parks on your grass, please call me right away. I want to be a part of this to be a positive experience. Guess what? You just touched 5 people. There's your 20 minutes of marketing that day. And then when the owner shows up, or if the owner doesn't show up, or if the buyer shows up or the buyer doesn't show up, great. Talk to them for a little bit. Shoot the hay with the inspector.
You're not knocking and pitching anything. You're just dropping your card and saying, hey, if someone parks on your grass, let me know. But you really are doing the same thing most people who are knocking are doing in a super casual way. I like that.
And if you don't have your elevator pitch, work on it. Sotheby's is the most well-respected, well-connected real estate company on the planet that happens to market to the world's most affluent audience.
That's his elevator pitch.
That's my elevator pitch, right? I was in Hard Rock elevator like a month and a half ago, about to go to the parks, and some guy started talking to me. What do you do? I work with Sotheby's. It's the most well-respected, well-connected real estate company on the planet. Happens to market to the world's most affluent audience. You just need that. And then you need the knowledge behind it. What are things selling for? Oh, I live in this neighborhood. Great. And look, real quick, because I am always opinionated and a little long on the mic. But to get it started, just, Brandon said it's Winter Park is his neighborhood. Start in your neighborhood. I don't care if you don't live in the greatest neighborhood. Start in your neighborhood. And then take whatever that neighborhood, if it's 50 houses, send them a postcard every 6 weeks and do it for 2 years. I promise you, you will have 2 to 3 listings within a year and a half in that neighborhood. Don't pick a large number. Pick a small number, something that you can afford every month or every 6 weeks, because the repetition of that is what's important. They've done studies where they send a fake agent name with a fake company to a neighborhood, and they do it for 6 months, and then they poll the people in the neighborhood, and 3 or 4 people in the neighborhood will give that name.
Even just starting with your street. We got a guy, I've lived in the same neighborhood for 16 years. There are 7 real estate offices I could walk to in a second, and no one ever knocked my doors. In fact, I would know that the Keller Williams right up the street would talk about how they're going to go door knock, but they never made it deep enough to knock mine. This dude moved in on my street, works for Karen Wilkins' team, and he's been farming hardcore, at least the whole street, probably only the street, because he does small stuff. But I'll drive by, and he's hosting something on the, like a driveway party, and he's got 20 families out there with their kids and all this stuff, and I'm thinking, like, man, this guy's doing it out of nothing. So a lot of people, like you said, just need to start small and start close to them, start within whatever they can do. Mike, I'm going to switch to you. Let's talk about, I'm going to switch it up instead of keeping on the same question. Do you have anything you want to add to the biggest differences?
I think the key is, and I think somebody in the audience, how do you get started when you have no money? Pretty simple. If you like, you're getting business cards everywhere you go. You're trying to connect with your client base. But if you start an email newsletter, it's free, right? There's tons of templates out there, and you post this today, right? You post that in on social media. But the email newsletter, you reach out to your clients once a month, and you just post the farm area that you're in. Hey, here's what's sold. Here's what is. It doesn't cost you a dime. We probably get 3 to 4 leads a quarter just from our email newsletter, and we have testimonials in there, right? So, which works out really well. So, anyway, I wanted to share that. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Tell me about the mistakes that you see. Like, what are the biggest mistakes people make mistakes or misnomers, we'll say, when it comes to the luxury market?
Gosh, I mean, as far as mistakes go, I mean, we just lost a $6.8 million deal, and I blame my wife for it because I wasn't there. But it's a different story. No. So my wife and I have a unique relationship. I'm the out front there guy. I'm going out and getting the business. She buttons it up, ties it up, and wraps it in a nice present, and we do that. So we had a $6.8 million deal, and we're pretty much about 70% sellers, and we represent about 30% buyers. So we had a buyer actually out of Golden Oak that was buying a house in our neighborhood, and the agency hired a brand new inspector. First inspection he's ever done, and it was a $6.8 million house that was completely, and when I tell you completely renovated. $2 million spent on the renovation. And he broke the microwave, all new appliances, by the way. He broke the microwave, the stove. I think he damaged one of the ACs. And he basically said that this house was inferior. So, the mistake we made was, number one, allowing that inspector continuing to do the inspection. 5 minutes into the inspection, my wife knew that this was going to be a disaster. I was in Scotland, so she wasn't going to call me. But we knew 5 minutes in, and this has happened to us many times. If you start going through an inspection, and much like what I heard, show up for your inspections, right? Even if you're representing the seller, you definitely want to be there. Don't be afraid to say, hey, this is not going to work, right? Because it can cost you a deal. I mean, it cost us a $6.8 million deal. He went to the house next door, the buyer did, and bought that house, and he just got met with a $100,000 EPA violation because they trimmed the lake too far down. So he's got to replant almost half of his yard. And so, again, it goes back to knowledge is everything. And we knew, and I don't blame my wife. My wife knew it was going to be a disaster, and she just didn't feel like she didn't have the confidence to go, hey, I'm going to call this off. Whereas if I'd have been there, I would have said, you're done, buddy. You can go do your next inspection somewhere else, but this isn't going to work. So just don't be afraid to be assertive if you have to be, because if not, that truly is a mistake. And then always verify your proof of funds letters. I can't tell you how many over the last 5 years, and probably more recently in the last 2 years, don't ever accept crypto verification of funds letters. I've had 2 just submitted this year where the banks were closed, but these were in different parts of the world, right? Bank of Indonesia, I forgot the other one, but you get these verification letters. Make sure you verify them. It's a big mistake that happens. So,
love it. Anyone else want to add any big mistakes or misnomers?
I would say that no matter the price point, a mistake that we often see is not keeping emotions out of the deal. You have to, as the agent, of course, you're representing your person, but if you see that the other agent is trying to bring the emotions of their client into it, then you need to be the one that keeps things steady going, because emotions can kill deals.
Do you say that to the other agent?
Yeah, I give the narrative. I'll say, you know your client obviously better than I do, but how about we say this? And that way it just helps keep emotions going and keeps things factual, as opposed to then, I don't want this house. I never wanted to move from College Park or whatever. Just make sure that you do what you can on your side to keep emotions out of the deal. And yes, I do set the narrative to an agent who maybe is a little gung-ho about keeping the emotions high.
And ChatGPT will help you with that. Take the email, put it in ChatGPT, and say, hey, I've got an agent that looks like they're bringing emotion into a transaction. How do I respond to this email in such a way that focuses back on the transaction and moving forward? Chat will give you, in 10 seconds, a perfect response, and use it. And if there's attitude at all in your chat, recheck your chat.
And then I would also say, as far as mistakes go, to make sure, and title and lenders who are here can speak to this as well, make sure that your client's wiring confirmation is done over the phone, because with AI voice scams now, and the email scams that happen where there will be someone who inserts themselves into an email chain looking like they're a title company or looking like they're a broker, and next thing you know, your client has sent millions of dollars to this fraudulent person. So make sure that any client you have just knows that they are to verify their wiring instructions over the phone.
Brandon, you have anything to add, mistakes you see?
Check wiring instructions. I've heard of horror stories, and luckily I haven't had that yet, but I've had some agents do that, and I don't know what I would do. That would be a nightmare. So,
Let's
And I
switch it
would
up
say
and let's-
work with, you need to find a title company to work with. You need a title company that you trust. You need a title company that once you start doing some volume, they're going to put the appointments in your phone, send you appointment requests, keep you on track. Title companies, lenders, inspection companies, find your favorites, find out why they're your favorites, talk to the owner if you ever have a problem. And really, you're the pro. You got to step up. You got to be a man, for lack of a better words for my gender. You got to be a man. You got to step up and do your job. And sometimes that means not being the nicest person to deliver the message. You can deliver it in a kind and caring way. But sometimes we have to say hard things and we have to do hard things. And you need not to be afraid of that. That is your job. That is what you are getting paid for.
Love that. Mike, anything you wanted to add?
No, I think the only other thing is if you're representing the buyer and you're submitting an offer, especially in the luxury side, when you send the proof of funds, because usually you're asked for that, just make sure you send the amount of the price of the home. Don't send. I mean, your client might be worth $80 million. Don't send $80 million. If you're looking at a $4 million home, send them a $4 million proof of funds. If your client says, well, my bank account says this, well, have their CPA write a letter. I can attest that this, my client can, afford this house. So.
Since we have the split panel, I'm gonna ask each of the four of you about why you choose to be either boutique or a large brokerage. Yeah, let's start with you, Mike. That's
Trick
cool.
question.
Yeah, why do you prefer boutique versus brokerage, and why?
Oh gosh, I wish you hadn't asked me that.
We can go to that side.
No, no. I'm not a big social media guy, and I see so much going on in our industry that I feel like discredits our industry. I see so many of these, I guess what I would call multi-level brokerages out there now. And so many of them are talking about how they work smarter, not harder. And I don't know what that means. And I mean, and they're usually talking about it from their chalet in Deer Valley or wherever. And I guess they're talking about all the money that they're making off their downlines. And I just think it discredits our industry as a whole. But that's okay because I usually go take their business. And that's why I stay boutique, because I have 100% control of my company and I can make 100% of my decisions. And so I just, we like to keep it simple. We have, I think, 15 agents. My oldest son's in the business. I don't know, many of you have heard of Diana Despoy. She's huge.
She was on this panel.
She's been on this panel huge. She and I are the epitome of being totally different agents. She is Mrs. Social Media and represents all kinds of different things, luxury, whether it be chocolates to homes to cars to renovations, boats. She's now doing boats, pools. She's doing pools now. So I'm the complete opposite of that. I kind of shy away from social media a little bit, and we're just focused on I'll share something that John Radesky told me when I started out working for him. He said, if you can make it 5 years, your next 5 years will be easier. If you can make it 10 years, your next 10 years will be easier. And he was right. He said, basically, after you've been in the business 10 years, you really don't have to market that much because your referral base is so strong.
Love that.
If you do a good job.
Love
right?
that.
If you do a good job. If you show up for the inspections, if you show up for the appraisals, and you do a good job, if you can make it in this business 5 years, you're going to do okay. If you make it 10, you're going to do really well. And if you make it 20, it's just, you're
Hopefully
blessed.
you're working towards retirement.
Correct.
It's the difference between walking uphill and walking downhill. Gibbs, talk about why you choose large.
So I started small. I started my own brokerage right out of the gate when I was back in 2003. And I partnered with somebody. I do find comfort and knowledge and strength partnering with somebody, and I know I'm going to put in my 100%, and as long as they put in 80%, I'm good. I do think when you partner with people, you have to be understanding, have empathy for their life, because outside of real estate, we all should have a life. But when it comes to the brokerage and going small, like I was very hands-on. I came from corporate America. I had worked through marketing divisions of companies, all kinds of things. So for me to kick off the first one, it was great. I had a business partner that he had certain tasks. I had certain tasks. The risk was not huge for us in North Carolina. It is an attorney state, so title companies are not title companies. It's all done through the attorneys, and so the liability was lower. We didn't even have a trust account, which was beautiful back in the day because we didn't want that liability. And every broker should watch their trust account because that's where every single one of them gets called to task, commingling of funds, right? But now, having the knowledge and the history, when I moved back down here, I went with Sotheby's, and Sotheby's is a Highline or a Halo brand, and I do like working for a Halo brand. You have brand, which is national and international. Then you have the next tier down, which is franchise. I like our franchise. They put a lot of marketing efforts out there for us, some really high-end video that they then share across our platform. And then they have they're working on AI with some reChat and some things to make our lives easier. And then you get down to the team. So I often talk to people about, when I'm talking about listing their property, hey, I just want you to know there's really 3 tiers that you get when you work with us at Sotheby's. You get Sotheby's International Realty. You get one Sotheby's, which we cover the whole East Coast. We have offices up and down the East Coast. And then you have the Baum team, which we always do our advertising. We're boots on the ground. We have the knowledge and so on and so forth. So when you do work for a larger brokerage, you can make your elevator pitch or your explanation about additional benefits almost in a tiered type level. So I do like that. And they do offer a lot for us. And once you do the kind of volume that at some point you will do when you partner with a good team or a good brokerage and those types of things. Once you get to that volume level, they'll let you do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
What about referral business?
They see you as a producer, and at that point, once you're a producer and you're doing all the right things to get there, guess what? You're not trying to do anything that they don't want you to do anyways. So always keep it above board. Always take the high road. If somebody stabs a knife in your back, guess what? I got 10 in there right now. Right? So it doesn't matter. Keep going. It is a tough business, but if we as real estate agents and as a community give each other respect, whether it's the first sale or the 500th sale, which I'm coming up on here in the next couple of sales in Brevard County, so it doesn't matter. I give everybody the same respect, but again, remember, I work for somebody else. It's not my decision how this is all going to go down. It's my seller's decision or my buyer's decision, but I'm going to deliver it in the best light that I can and try to find positive things. And again, for those, I was a journalism major, so for me to sit down and write an email that's that makes sense and flows, and I can do that. But ChatGPT has made everybody's lives easy, and if you're not using it, just log in, sign up, go through every portion of it, fill out everything, put your bio in there, because guess what? It wants to know your bio. It wants to get to know you so it can respond just like you.
Love it. So let me summarize what I think I got from both of you. Mike stays small because he wants control and wants to keep it close to home and be in charge of where it goes. Gibbs likes big because has been small, but likes big because he can position himself as having international, national, local reach. Jenny, how about you?
So I was given advice when I first started that if you wanted to really have some one-on-one learning to go with a boutique And so I first went with Wendy Morris Realty, who's a very small boutique in Windermere, and it was really just me, her, and one other agent that she had. And I was with Wendy for about 10 years, and really I learned so much about the business and did some great deals and was really thankful for that experience. But I was really missing being part of a family, part of a team. I found that I was not holding myself as accountable for my work day by being at home by myself all day. So I wanted to go into an office. I wanted to be around other people. And if you want to be around successful people because you want to be in the room where the deals are happening, where the level is elevated, right? And again, my background was in television, and Stockworth has its own TV studio with Netflix quality camera equipment and high-end video production. And so for me, I say it was marrying my two worlds of TV and real estate by switching to Stockworth in 2020. And Stockworth, they're known in Windermere as really, for our size brokerage, we have the highest price per square foot average by about $400 per square foot. It's a very elevated brand. It's a boutique brand, but it's a very elevated brand. And the people that I work with, the Julie Bettasinis, the Rob Rodders, the Aaron Wanners, those are people that are always in the top 25 and better. And so to have a boutique that has maybe 10 agents and 5 of us are in your top 25, it's surrounding yourself with the people that you want to be doing those deals with. And it really is a family. It's a team there. And when I go to my listing presentations, while I don't have the international scope of a Sotheby's, I'm a single agent. I am not a team. I do not have a team. But I have a team of people at Stockworth that we have my right arm, Melissa Keplinger, who she is on every transaction. She's not a transaction coordinator, but she is our agent support director, I call her, because she handles everything from helping us set up an open house to conversing with the title company about a wire transfer. Like, she does everything. And then we have our video production department, and they all know how each of our agents likes to do things, and we're not all robots. We like them all done differently. And so being at a boutique, you get to keep your personality of how you want your business run, but still have the support that you would have if I had a larger system in place.
Brandon, talk about the big brand and what you love about Compass, why you chose it.
So when I got started in COVID, I got licensed, joined a small boutique, and it was awesome. It was easy. I was answering the Zillow calls, selling homes, and didn't really think anything of it, kind of learned as I went. And then when the market started to slow down in like 22, 23, I was like, I have to figure out how to do this and actually sell real estate and understand it. And I just think having the big brand behind me with the technology, the systems, the processes has helped me kind of scale to where I've been and where I can go. With me not really having the proper training, I needed some structure and someone to kind of help point me in the right direction. So, I think having the brand too has helped, because I don't have the established, branding Geers brand. I think the Compass name helped me have some legitimacy.
I'd also say, too, that don't be afraid to ask for coaching or a mentor who's either with your brokerage or outside of it to, what did you do? Like, when I started with Stockworth, the owner there said, how many phone calls do you make a day? It was a structured thing that I didn't have in place. He said, who are your top 48? And so he had me write out who are my top 48 vendors, who are my top 48 clients, who are my top 48, one-on-one people. And then, are you making your 5 phone calls a day or your 10 phone calls a day? Your 5 phone calls a day give you a $5 million business a year. Your 10 phone calls a day give you a $10 million business a year. The coaching that I hadn't had before. So I would say don't be afraid to reach out and see what other people are doing and put systems in place to grow your business.
I love that. So if I heard right, y'all like the individuality of the smaller brand and working with that. You guys love the reach of the bigger brand, the technology. Neither of you mentioned referrals, though, so I got to ask.
It's all how you sell
Are either of you guys crushing referral
you
business from the network?
Say that again?
What about referral business coming from the network?
I do get referral business from the network, and I will say the referral business that comes through there can be $2 to $6 million listings. So that in itself, there are some higher costs to work with Sotheby's, right? So our technology fee is probably a little bit more, and we lose a little bit more on our split to our broker and the franchise itself. But I more than make up for that in success rate of either referrals and or just leveraging the name. And perception is reality. If you work for a smaller brand and it's boutique, you're going to leverage that conversation in that direction. Just like she said, well, I'm not a team, I'm not this, I'm that, I'm an individual, I'm here, I'm in front of you, I'm
get
the
me.
one. I'm the knowledge, not they're the knowledge, right? Because sometimes when you have a larger brokerage, it may come across as, oh, there's the knowledge, I'm boots on the ground, right? And that can work to your advantage. And simultaneously, if I come in behind that listing appointment, I might be like, yeah, we have a team. It doesn't matter when you want the open house. I might do it one time, or Will might do it. He's the one I'm mentoring right now, and so on and so forth. So it's all how you phrase that with your client, and just have the confidence, believe in it. And if you're afraid to ask for the sale, I'll tell you, the best close ever. Now that doesn't sound so bad, does it? And you shake your head no. That way, a seller gets to say no to you, and everybody wants to say no to a salesman. It's a close that the no means yes, all right? So I will say that I have used it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and our job as salespeople is to get the people up to the edge and nudge them, because you do have to nudge people. If you don't nudge people, they may come away from the conversation in a situation and not really know what to do because you didn't ask for the sale. So we are salespeople. It's not a dirty word. And when we nudge people the last minute, they feel as though they made the best decision possible. So don't beat yourself up about being a salesperson. It's actually a very noble role. And if you do it right, you're helping people.
Love it. Love it. All right, I got one last question for you guys. How many of you guys learned something so far? Make some noise. Make sure you mark the calendars October 16th and wear your pink, because we're having a women's panel October 16th. We got a handful of badass women who sell at the highest levels of industry. It's going to be about leading the industry with heart. That's our women's panel for October 16th, right back here. Then November 20th, we'll have our men's panel. It's the Go Blue session. So wear your pink next month, wear your blue the following month. The money goes to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation next month. It goes to the Movember Foundation the following month. And all that stuff will be on Eventbrite. You'll get invites and stuff like that. Today, you've probably seen the slides come up. I won't spend more time on that. But I got one last question I'll ask you guys, trying to pick my favorite out of these ones. Let's say that I would love to hear your best action steps that agents in this room could take to start working with a higher net worth client or a higher average transaction. So if I'm in this room and I want to raise my average transaction, what are the first 2 or 3 steps that you'd tell me to take? I'll go to you, Brandon.
I mean, I would go back to just immersing yourself in that market. You know, if it's College Park, Windermere, Winter Park, just live and breathe it. You know, when you go out to dinner, meet people, be in the community, and just surround yourself with the people that can help you do that.
Love it. Jenny?
Put yourself in those spaces. Like I was saying before, accept the invitations. Just really put yourself at those places where you're going to be surrounded by people who either are the high net worth people or who are friends with the people who are high net worth people, because you might not get automatic access to the person who has the $10 million house, but maybe their $500,000 homeowning friend is someone that you get to be authentic friends with, and then they're going to support you when you're not looking. So surround yourself by good people, no matter what their price point is, no matter what size home they own, and know that it's a person who's going to have your back to cheerlead for you when you're not in the room, and that will open up opportunities for you. But accept every invitation to put yourself in that space, even if you feel like you're not comfortable in it. You'll be fine. You just have to put yourself and believe in yourself that if you do a good job for the $400,000 client, you're going to do a great job for the $4 million client, because you care. It is a service industry. We talk a lot about that at Stockworth, that being in sales, as you were saying, this is a service industry that we do. We take care of people's money. It is the largest transactions of their lives. So just put yourself into some scenarios and spaces where you'll get seen and noticed and spoken about.
Gibbs, anything to add to that? What was the question again? Question was action steps to increase the average transaction.
Yeah, and go to the local charity event, even if it's the cheapest ticket that you can get, or, go to whatever local events are going on, go to all the real producer stuff, and sometimes you're in a room with somebody who has a $500,000 house, like she was saying, and lo and behold, their parents pass, and they have a $400,000 house locally, and some wealthy people buy their kids' houses too. So
what I'm hearing that no one said is to figure out where they are, where they hang out, what they go to, what they don't go to, and be there. Is that?
Yeah, I used to always tell friends when I was friends with some girls growing up, and I would always tell them, when you go to a bar and you meet a guy, make sure his belt and his shoes match. Make sure his clothes are nice. Look in the room. Pick out the people to talk to in the room. Same thing, there's certain fundraiser events that I'm not going to walk up to Mark Pylock and talk to him, even though I know him, because everybody's trying to walk up and talk to him. I may walk up and give him a fist bump, right? And then let it go. I really try to have genuine relationships with people, and then they're going to find out kind of what I do before it's all said and done, because when you've sold real estate for 20 years, you can't help but talk about it in a conversation at some point.
Yeah. Exactly.
And look for opportunities out there. We as agents, yes, commissions are great. Like, I did some really great commissions the last 4 or 5 years especially. Commissions are great, but look for the opportunities out there. Look for the steals, because that's when you can start texting some of your friends, hey, this is not the right house for you guys, but wow, what a great deal in the market. I want you to know that the market's moving. That's a text. You can copy that text and send it to 15 people, right? It's not always necessarily about something for them. It can be just industry. Hey, you know what? You got to see this social reel I saw, and send it to a friend, and it's a silly social reel about real estate or whatever the scenario is. As soon as somebody that you have worked with or communicated with, they pop into your brain, find a reason to send them a text.
Love that.
It doesn't take but a minute, and you're just touching. And then at some point in time, they call you and go, hey, I just did a $22 million 1031 exchange, and I need to redeploy that cash. Yay.
And now you're top of mind. I love it. Mike, anything to add? First action
No, I
steps?
think everybody pretty much covered it. I mean, we're looking. We're looking at 2 social clubs in Windermere right now that we're joining. One's $275 a month. It's so the way we look at that as advertising, right? So I'll spend $275 a month. So what is that? Almost $3,000. And if I pull one client out of this club once a year, it more than pays for itself. So when we look at different things, we just look at that and go. We look at that as advertising, not really as a benefit, as more of benefiting us as much as it's benefiting our business. And so, it's always something to look around, because there seems to be a lot of that popping up in Orlando. There seems to be a lot of people that are wanting a little bit more exclusivity in certain areas, in certain restaurants, in certain venues of different things. So just keep your eyes open, because to me that seems cheap.
And the luxury market's growing rapidly here. There are really heavy money, both here and coming from other countries, betting heavily on the growth of the luxury segment. I know we just signed an advertising partner, Louis Luxury Homes, and they're not just betting on it. They are trying to be at the forefront of pushing the growth of luxury development in Orlando. So they're like putting lots of money into specifically College Park, Winter Park, and knocking down homes and building really nice ones. And they want to push the envelope of speeding up all the things that are already happening here. And they're not the only ones. There's a whole bunch of money and powers that be that are betting on Orlando's luxury sector growing rapidly. And I'm sure you can see all of the, where there's smoke, there's fire. You guys can kind of see that smoke. So anyway, let's give it up for all the panelists here. Let's get a takeaway or 2 from the room. How many of you guys share a takeaway or 2? Let's get like 2 or 3 from the room before we finish out. Who learned something today? Somebody. Yep, right here. Yep. Yeah. I love that. That came from Gibbs. How about someone else? Yeah, right here. Yep, you in the suit.
Yeah, I love, I think
I love that when I think Brandon was, I can't remember if it was Gibbs or Brandon that said it, to treat normal people like rock stars and rock stars like normal people. That was a money one. How many of you guys? Let's get two more. Yep. Stacy.
I broke down something from each one of you, but add value, be the expert, and be fair. That's what I got from all of you. And those were the top messages I think that you delivered for all of us, and it was awesome.
I love it. Yep, man, you come to every masterclass. I got to hear it from you.
I love the idea that you guys attend the events. I do that. In my community, I go to everything. If the school has something, I go to that also too, and I meet quite a bit of people in it.
Love it. Yep, right here. Yep, you. I got you.
I like it when she said, separate your emotions from the deal. Your emotions will lose the deal every time. So you just got to understand, everybody react to different things differently.
Love
so
it.
You just got to take yourself back and approach the deal, to close.
Love it. Ross, did you have something to share?
Gibbs said give them a nudge. I often educate my clients, but don't give them that last push to make something happen.
Sometimes people need reassurance. You guys ever go to a really nice restaurant and you can tell they are trained to compliment whatever you order? I know we've been there. You'll say like, oh, I want this. And they'll say, that's an excellent choice. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Why do you think they do that? They've obviously learned, I don't know the studies behind it, but there's obviously something that people want to be reassured. They don't just say, okay, you're going to love it. They say, that's an excellent choice, Andrew. So you're like, yeah, that was a good choice. We need that. We second guess. How many of you guys second guess yourself all the time? I could tell some of you are half raising your hand when I ask that question. So sometimes you just need that little extra nudge. Let's give a giant round of applause to all the panelists, all the sponsors, and could we give a huge round of applause to Dave Stewart and the crew with D Stewart Productions doing all the audio, all the video. Hit them up if you need any live video, audio production, or you need a world-class saxophone player. Dave tours the world and the country with Al Green, so he's a pretty badass saxophone player. But anyway, thank you guys. We'll see you back here next month. Oh, and by the way, let's give a round of applause to PJ Crescenzo and the team at Element Mortgage. They had something delivered by, I think it's Einstein Bagel, so we have some kind of breakfast here. And grab it while it's hot because there's probably only enough for 30 or 40 of you. So make sure you grab it. Thank you.